because I tell you to.
Mhm.
There it is. Welcome, everybody. We're finally live. I apologize for the latitude of the show. That's completely on me. I was busy playing with my little cars. But tonight I am joined here by some awesome people. I'm joined by my good friend Jen of the Jen's Reviews from the Grave. My other good pal, Trenchy of the Soulless Trench Coat, and in the other corner, my other friend, occasional visitor guest, Kara, the of Master of Fear. Welcome,
Hello.
folks. And tonight we continue the theme of super sci-fi vehicles as we talk about the often forgotten Viper. Guys, nobody remembers this show, but Viper.
It has a cool name.
Oh yeah, and it's a cooler car. Like it's often compared to Knight Rider, which sort of had a similar premise, but not quite the same. But of course, this has a legit fast car, whereas because it was made in the 80s and there was this whole emissions thing in the US, the Trans Am that was in Knight Rider, not exactly that fast, sort of like 85 miles an hour top speed. This thing like 120 miles an hour or something top speed with the V10 engine. Apparently that's quite big.
So here's the question I've had. Which car do you think has the better stuff? Like, not just with speed, but like the better, like, can do more kit, or the one in this one?
Easily the Viper. Easily the Viper can do more.
But Kit can talk. I'm going to have to lean on Kit
because Kit can talk. Kit could talk. Kit did have a better personality. I mean, they're not the same show. All right, like, so let me rewind. The basic premise of this show is it's the near future. It's the, as they say in the opening crawl, the day after tomorrow. This is set in the distant future in the incredible year 2000, and it's in a world where crime is taking over the streets in a fictional city known as Metro City, California, which is apparently somewhere in Alberta, Canada.
Of course.
You know, as most California cities on television are, it's in Calgary, naturally.
Yay!
Yay,
Calgary.
Canada!
Don't know where that is.
It's in Canada.
Oh,
That's where they play hockey.
Yeah, maple syrup.
It's in Alberta. The province of Alberta. I'll say it right. Which is where this show is filmed. It's supposed to be, of course, California, USA, fictional city, Metro City. But no. Anyway, I digress. We get way off track. The whole premise is they have a super high-tech crime-fighting car that they're going to revolutionize police work with, and they got to keep it hush-hush, top secret, because it's super expensive, and it was invented by a brilliant, genius kind of tech designer guy named Julian Wilkes, who is trapped in a wheelchair due to an unfortunate gang shooting that has paralyzed him. And he's dedicated his life to eradicating crime. So he designed the Viper, a car which at this point was all defensive capabilities, very few offensive capabilities. And he wanted this super secret car. He calls it the Defender. And it needs to blend in, and it needs to look like a regular car. So he picks the most blendable car ever. I mean, you'd never look at it twice. He picks the Dodge Viper of all cars.
As you do.
As you do. You pick
Very inconspicuous.
you pick one of the flashiest sports cars of the day, with one of the biggest engines at the time. But as I mentioned before, sports a V10 engine, which is quite big and ridiculous, actually, for a street car. And as in real life, in the show, the car is quite unwieldy. It's hard to drive. It takes a big level of skill to drive it, a great level of skill, which they have trouble finding a driver. That's the problem. Like, the car is great. The car is top notch. It looks like a Viper.
The car is perfect.
Yeah, the car is perfect. Transforms into the Defender, transforms back into the Viper. It looks completely stock.
The problem is Madison sucks at driving.
Yes. Yeah. You look, Madison.
The Day After. What? That's a weird name for a TV film.
But anyway, they have trouble finding a driver, and at the same time, there's this gang of criminals that use identical cars in their exotic heists and burglaries. And they're head up by their best driver in the gang, a guy by the name of Michael Payton, a crook, a ruthless criminal with a heart of gold who has a code about not hurting and killing people. Okay. The cops can't catch him because he's the most amazing driver ever, and he can drive any car anywhere faster than any other car, and he's got the skills. He's got the skills that don't kills, because he won't kill anyone. And of course, he's such a great driver that he wrecks his car and almost dies in a police chase.
Because he's that good.
Best driver ever. Hey, at least he doesn't kill. At least he has a rule.
He has
curb, though. It wasn't his fault. He didn't see the curb or whatever.
He didn't see the curb.
But, like, that's something we all know is there, right? The curb. I mean, we don't have to be like NASCAR drivers to know there's curbs, right? Or am I wrong?
What happened was it gonna go into the barricade, and he did this dope move to like avoid the barricade of police, which was really cool. And then immediately afterwards, like hit the curb, I think, or he hit something, and then he crashed.
It flipped him right over, crashed him. He almost died, and he's in the hospital. And the mayor, who's spearheading the whole project secretly as part of his Say No to Crime and Clean Up the Streets campaign, because he wants to get reelected, damn it. So what better way than a super secret top crime fighting vehicle you won't tell anyone about?
It's always about the re-election with mayors in these kind of movies, or, TV show.
So what do? Well, of course, the first thing you do when you almost kill an awesome driving criminal is you put in a microchip into his brain that erases his memory of who he is, and you assign him a new identity.
Let's make this highly advanced vehicle, and let's wipe the memory of a criminal. Nothing could possibly go wrong.
Ethel,
This is like some Amanda Waller shit.
Like, Ethel, but like if you wipe his brain, wouldn't he forget to be a super awesome car driver? Like, wouldn't he forget all of his moves?
Well, because those skills are all muscle memory, Jen, and instinct, so they exist still. He just doesn't remember who he is. And they tell him that, look, fella, your name is not Michael. No, your name is Joe Astor.
That's a lame
And he
name.
remembers he doesn't want to hurt people for some reason.
Yeah, when he wakes up from when he wakes up from his technological and medical induced coma, his first question he has is, "Did I hurt anybody?"
Okay. Does he? The reason why he doesn't want to hurt anybody? Does he have some tragic backstory that we find out in a later season? Or is that why he's so vehemently against hurting anybody, or is that just a character trait?
It's a character trait. He's a nice guy. He's got a heart of gold, Jen. He's got a heart of gold. He just
likes to rob people. Stuff happens.
He might have done bad things, but he still had a heart.
Okay.
He wasn't a cool criminal.
Gotcha. I just wondered if we were going into backstory territory.
Oh yeah. So they fix him up with a new identity, and they even assign him a girlfriend, which that's pretty convenient. And he hits it off with this woman who helps him out get rehabilitated and get used to being Joe Astor, and apparently he gets recognized by some of his former associates, and just as he's getting used to being part of the top secret Viper project, he blow up his girlfriend.
Oh, that old chestnut.
Yeah, that old chestnut. But he takes it in stride. He joins the project, and he's a complete success and badass at driving the Viper. And we get to see it transform into the Defender. And it's got this cool transformation sequence where, like, the skin of the car looks like little honeycombs, almost like snake scales, and they sort of flip over, kind of, in a way, and turn into the armored version of the car, and it changes shape a little bit, and it looks completely different but similar in some ways, and it's bulletproof, fireproof, eventually waterproof, and it's fast.
Kind of like Airwolf.
Yeah, kind of like Airwolf. And he gets a whole host of gadgets with this car that help him do his job. Like, it's got an all-terrain mode where, like, the suspension jacks up and the tires get all big, and it's like a 4x4, but a sports car. And it's got these pods on the side that deploy, and it's got this weapon called an electromagnetic pulse, which shoots out at other cars, and it's like this big ball of electricity, and it shuts the other car down, and it can't go anywhere. And it's also got grappling hooks. Jen.
Grappling hooks. Okay. I'm down for grappling hooks. I mean, that's sexy and useful. And, if you want to get groceries later after you fight crime, it can come in handy.
And sexiest of all, it's got a probe.
You shouldn't have told her that.
I know, and I love the church. She knew exactly. Oh, so is this like a replacement of the girlfriend, this pro? Hi, DMC.
Well, the probe acts as sort of a sidekick at times, but its primary function is the back of the car will open up and it'll deploy an unmanned drone that's about yay big, and it flies around. And it's got a laser, and it's got sophisticated audio and video surveillance, and it's just the cutest thing you ever did see. And it's got 2 headlights as well, and it's cute. And he can control it remotely, and it's like his little sidekick.
Most men did.
Hey, DMC. Hey, Brian. Hey, John.
Hey, guys.
I don't think it. Why do you need the grappling hook and everything else when your car can just shoot electricity? I mean, that's pretty useful.
Well, it's only useful for shutting down other cars. What if you need to, like, trip somebody up with a grappling hook? Or what if you need to, in some episodes, what if you need to get to the top of a building?
Oh my God, Ethel, really?
I mean,
yeah.
What are we doing? Some Batman Forever stuff here?
No. The car doesn't climb the building, but Joe Astor can use the grappling hook, and he can attach himself to the line, and he can follow it up to where he's shot to the top of the building, and he can climb the building that way, like some Batman.
Gotcha.
I was gonna be like, this inspired Fast and Furious, but I guess not.
The car is better.
See,
The
I was
Fast and Furious
imagining
movies.
the car going up, and I was like,
I should note that for much of the first season, Joe Astor dresses like the Highlander. He wears a gray trench coat and black gloves because it's freaking 1994 and its look is
It's a
still
look.
bad. So he's great. He's an awesome character, an awesome crime fighter with a checkered past, and they bring it into the story. And Trench, you saw an episode and a half. Did you want to give your thoughts at this point?
Oh, sure. I really like it. I think because it's weird because I've only seen an episode of a half and a half of Knight Rider as well. And I think this one has the better premise. And plus you have fake Joe Pesci in it, which is amazing. This guy is literally exactly like Joe Pesci. He looks kind of like Joe Pesci. He talks like Joe Pesci. I don't know where they found this guy, but it's amazing.
oh,
Are you talking about Franklin X. Waters?
Yes, because he doesn't look exactly like Joe Pesci, but he kind of does, and he talks like him. Like it's like he's doing a Joe Pesci impression. It's really weird, but awesome.
okay.
Oh, DMC, you've seen the show?
Oh, we should get DMC on.
Yeah.
DMC, do you want to be on the panel? I can send you the link in the chat if you want to be on. Because it'd be great. I'm the only one who's seen it all the way through from beginning to end and stuff.
And there's probes apparently, DMC. We can talk about probing.
I'm tell you what. I am going to drop it in the chat. Hold on a second. Let me drop it in the chat. If the tablet will keep up. So bear with me here. Oh, some episodes is better than no episodes. Hold on, let me get you a link to the thing. If it will cooperate, here we go. Post comment.
DMC, you got more knowledge than me. I haven't even seen an episode. I was only able to find clips on YouTube, like little clips of the car.
I know a viper's a car or a snake, but in this sense, it's his car. Frenchie, so who is the Joe Pesci, bargain bin Joe Pesci? Is he just a good guy or a helper?
Oh, well, they don't show much of him from what I've seen. I guess it becomes more prominent later, but we're first introduced to him. He is on a rooftop secretly taking pictures of the car, and you think he's a bad guy, but the security guard takes away his camera, and they bring him up to the place where they're working on the car, and they're like, this guy's been snooping around. And he's like, God damn it. And he's like, oh, this guy's just a fan of cars. And he's just really interested in the car because he really likes cars. He's not bad at all. He's just kind of annoying.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, he is the chief motor pool officer for Metro City.
Okay.
And he's enamored with the car, as most people are back in the 90s. Was a fairly popular car. The Viper was, not this Defender, because nobody knew the show. I remember going to school, and I'd speak about this show occasionally with the other children, and they would not know what the hell I was talking about. And I'm like, do not stay up till 2 a.m. Like,
what's wrong with you? See, and there's our problem as well. I was staying up till 2 a.m, but I was usually watching like Cinemax, as all 7 and 8 year olds were.
For most of the time, I didn't have cable, so this was like in syndication, which I should probably get into the nuts and bolts of the show, its format, who was in it, what's going on, because we usually start out with that, but I wanted to give you guys the basic premise because nobody's seen it.
Nobody's seen it.
So quickly, this show was created by the team, the television team of Danny Bilson and Paul Demio, or Demio. I don't know how you want to pronounce it. I think it's Italian. These guys, you guys will definitely recognize some of their work. They were the writers behind the TV show back in the 90s, The Flash.
Okay.
Oh,
They also were the Paul Demio was a writer on the TV show The Sentinel.
Okay.
And they both were writers on a little movie, you may not have seen it, The Rocketeer.
Oh, I've seen it.
oh, that movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
What
It was
is?
a hit. It was a modest hit.
Yeah, you know.
I'm sorry, I don't know the Rocketeer.
Oh, God. The Rocketeer is great. It's this superhero who doesn't want to be a superhero initially, and then he wants to be a superhero because he's got a jetpack.
Jetpack.
Because originally he just
It's
wanted to
great.
be a but he's got jetpack.
Jetpack.
Jetpacks. And he writes Nazis.
Who wouldn't want a jetpack?
I would.
Of course, we all should have jetpacks. Jetpacks are great. So yeah, it was created by Danny Bilson and Paul Demio. It stars, in the first season, it stars James McCaffrey, which, Jen, you will definitely recognize this guy because you were a Sex and the City fan. He was in 2 episodes of Sex and the City. He was, he played Max, and he played Paul Deny.
Okay. I know. Yeah. Okay.
Remember he had the motorcycle?
Yes. The cool dude. Yeah, I remember. The cool dude. Yeah. Good looking guy.
Oh, very good looking fella. I don't know what Carrie was thinking.
You don't care. We'll talk about that in a few weeks. We'll be that and many other things.
But I remember watching Sex and the City, and it was after I'd seen Viper.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw him and I was geeking out because I'm like, oh my God, he's going to pull up in the Defender and they're going to go on a date in the Defender.
No.
She's going to make him take her shoe shopping and then they're going to catch criminals. This is going to be awesome.
Yay, connected universe pudding. Yay.
I was excited, but then he just had a motorcycle, and I was like, "Oh, okay." I mean, that's still cool, but
in fairness, how many Sex and the City fans probably are Viper fans? It's there. I mean, there's people probably that have seen both, but I think neither demographic dips into the other one. If I was a betting person,
yeah, I'm probably the rare circumstance where that happens.
Probably, but still, it's cool.
Well, there is a difference. People who don't watch Sex and the City know its existence, but Viper, from what you said, nobody really knows.
Yeah, it fell right down the memory hole, and even when it was on TV, nobody knew about it. It was one of these shows that you watch late at night, and it's a total secret. It's like, is this just for me? Nobody knows about it. For me, it's like a secret.
It's sad though, because I feel like the show was more interesting from what I've seen. Like, yes, Kit could talk, but that's the only thing they really have over it. Because Michael Knight, he's an okay character from what I've seen, but I like the Joe Astor character a lot more because he's got a lot more depth to him. And he's got that dilemma between being a criminal in his past, and he has to face that. Well, Michael Knight just got shot in the face. And his thing is like, well, I'm just going to take you down because you shot me in the face, and that wasn't cool.
Yeah, like Michael Knight. What, Jen?
Why do you think that is? Why do you think everyone, even people who didn't watch the show, knows what Knight Rider is, and yet you say Viper and we just stare at you blankly? Why do you think that is?
Probably talking car.
Yeah, probably.
A lot of it has to do with time slots and commercialism and being pushed. Viper was a show that from the very beginning, it was sabotaged. And I'll get into that. I'll get into that right after I finish talking about the cast. But it was a show that had been sabotaged by the networks, and it got a raw deal in many different circumstances. But in that first season, you had James McCaffrey, if I'm even pronouncing his name correctly. He was in Rescue Me. He played Jimmy Keefe in Rescue Me. And more recently, he was in the TV show Jessica Jones. He was Max Tatum.
Oh, shit. That's cool.
And if you like video games and you like the Max Payne series, you'll definitely recognize him because he is the voice of Max Payne.
Okay.
In this show, you also have Dorian Harewood, who plays Julian Wilkes. He's the fellow in the wheelchair, the guy who invented the Defender / Viper. Well, I mean, I guess Dodge invented the Viper. He just made it the Defender. But he was in this, and he has an amazing catalog. He was a voice actor primarily. He voiced the Shredder in 4 episodes of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Because of how they did their audio recording sessions, their voice recording sessions, they recorded with the entire cast so that they could play off each other. And in instances where James Avery couldn't be available, where Uncle Phil wasn't around, they would use a different actor, and he was one of the fill-in actors they would use.
Oh, okay. I did not know that. That's cool.
He was also in the New Kids on the Block TV series. He was Maurice Starr.
Okay.
That had a show?
It had a cartoon. Hey, Scott.
Of course it did.
Wait, what had a cartoon? Wait, what?
The New Kids on the Block.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hanging
The only reason I know about the New Kids on the Block is because of the It movie.
I figured.
The new one.
I knew you were going to
That's
say
the
that.
only-
Hello, Scott.
Just like the only reason I know Knight Rider exists is because of the game that came out in I think it was 2015, Lego Dimensions. That's the only reason I know what Knight Rider is.
Well, you're young. It happens. It's okay. You'll hang in there, sport. You'll get to know all these shows. You hang out with us long enough. He also voiced Mac on Bonkers. Does anybody remember that cartoon?
I do. It wasn't particularly good, but I remember it. Does anybody like Bonkers? We all remember it. None of us liked it.
I liked it.
Okay.
I liked Bonkers. I was that rare person that liked Bonkers. I admit it. Kara and Trench, especially the both of you, are going to appreciate this. Dorian also voiced Tombstone on the Spider-Man animated series.
Oh shit! They did a great job. Like,
I remember Tombstone from the animated series.
And if you remember Sonic the Hedgehog, the Saturday AM cartoon, he was the voice of Larry, the ram-headed freedom fighter from the other side of the valley.
Kind of remember it, but not super. But I sort of know what you're talking about.
Which I think that was 5 episodes. I think that character was in 5 episodes. And if you like the Iron Man cartoon series, he was Jim Rhodes.
Okay.
He was Rhodey.
I've been watching that on Disney Plus, the Iron Man animated series.
Oh, perfect. So anytime you hear Rhodey, that's him.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that's kind of cool. And as Trenchy affectionately calls him, the counterfeit Joe Pesci was played by Joe Nipote. I don't know how to pronounce it again.
Nipote. I think so.
It's Nipote, Nipote or Nipote.
Yeah, that's how I would say it.
Nipote.
I think.
Nipote. Okay. Well, however you say his name, He was the voice of Stretch in the Casper the movie and Casper the animated series.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's funny how we all know the Casper movie.
because the Casper movie is very odd, but also very good in a weird way.
No, it's not good, Trenchy.
But Casper
We should
tries
know
to
what
kidnap her. It's awesome.
we should know what Viper is rather than the Casper movie.
It has
He
Devin
was-
Sawa in it.
He was also in an episode of Northern Exposure. He was an Italian character, Joe Cusimano.
Yes. Okay. Now we're talking.
Dan, I knew I could count on you to have watched Northern Exposure as well.
Yeah.
I have no idea what Northern Exposure is.
It was on. It was good. It was an odd show, but it was good.
It was quirky and funny, and like every episode began with the opening credits, as most TV shows do. But you had a moose walking through the town of Sicily, Alaska, and you had this song that was like.
It was weird, but it was good.
Yeah,
Came
it
on
sounds
Monday
very
night.
strange.
Does
I
he
mean,
act
it sounds
like
strange, but what should I
that
expect
show?
from the 80s and 90s? Why should I expect normal?
What'd you say, Trench? I missed that.
Oh, my bad. Does he act like Joe Pesci in that show?
Yeah, not quite, but he was very Italian, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
It was an episode titled Little Italy. If you want to check it out.
Sean
Okay.
also knows Northern Exposure. I'm not surprised. And Sisters. That's a even deeper cut. Sisters.
Oh, Sisters! I used to watch that.
I did too.
Hey, Mac.
So yeah, he was also in Meatballs 2. If you remember Meatballs 2.
I didn't watch Meatballs 2. I've seen Meatballs 1 though.
Cloudy with a chance of meatballs?
No. A
No.
little different.
Oh,
Porky's maybe. A little kind of sort of Porky style.
It was like a Porky's Porky's Light.
Yeah, Porky's, poor man's Porky's, if you will.
Yeah.
Oh,
It
yeah,
had-
John. I grew up with Chowder, so yeah. I get what you're saying.
Chowder. I know Chowder. I remember that
So
show.
that-
That show was weird. That and The Adventures of Flapjack.
So that was the primary cast for the first season. It was a good group. It was a lot of fun. There was a lot of good chemistry between all the actors. And as silly and ridiculous as the Frankie character was, he had this catchphrase that they rode into the ground, guys. They rode this into the ground more than that song in the Crow Stairway to Heaven TV series. Every episode, at least twice, he'd say, "Poke out my eyes."
Okay. Can't imagine why that didn't catch on.
And when the show got canned, basically, NBC put the kibosh on it after season 1 because they didn't like how it was performing in the ratings, which they shouldn't be surprised because they weren't giving it a great time slot and they weren't talking it up and they weren't doing anything with it or for it. They canceled it. It came back, though. It came back through efforts of Paramount. Paramount brought it back and they reworked it. And it came back, but it came back sadly without James McCaffrey, and it came back without Dorian Harewood. But it came back with Joe Nipote. He came back. He reprised his role as Frank. They toned down the Italian wackiness of it all. He was still silly, but they pulled it back a little bit. He wouldn't say "poke out my eyes" every 5 times every episode, and he'd be a little bit more realistic.
A little.
It was cool. And instead, they brought back for the driver to replace James McCaffrey, who had disappeared. He went and did other business for the government, and maybe he decided to leave. They were kind of vague on it at first. They brought in Jeff Cack, who plays Thomas Cole.
Okay.
So in universe, they get this guy and this criminal, and they wipe his mind, and then like they have him do all these missions with this cool car, and then by the time season 2 comes around, they're just like, okay, time for you to do different stuff for the government. Goodbye. Now new person is here.
Essentially, that's what happened. They would later change the story for season 4 as far as what happened to him, but you'll understand why.
Maybe he was hanging out with Sinjin.
Perhaps. That would be cool. What a great buddy comedy that would be.
That's awesome. Quentin.
Trentry, stop making a TV gold. It will never happen now.
So they brought in the character Thomas Cole, played by Jeff Cack, which I'm probably mispronouncing, but that's how it's like. It's got 2 A's in it, so I mean, what do you want me to do? It's Cack. Cack. No, Cack. No, Cack. Not Cack.
That's what I would say.
You might remember him. He was Captain John Boone in Space Rangers.
Not familiar with that one.
Dennis Grimes in Dynasty.
Yeah.
He played Peter Dexter in an episode of Silk Stockings.
I might have seen him. I watched a lot of Silk Stockings as a kid, so probably have seen him in that one.
Me too. And he was also in an episode of The Sentinel. He was Lee Brackett in an episode of The Sentinel.
Okay.
Which that's a show I'll get back to at some point. You'll see a Sci-Fi Sunday on The Sentinel eventually, guaranteed.
Cool.
We'll get to all of the obscure shows no one knows about.
He played highly trained agent Thomas Cole, he was almost like he was a secret agent, but he wasn't. I think he was FBI or maybe even former CIA. I can't remember exactly. But he was highly trained government agent, and they picked him to be the new driver of the Viper, the new head guy. And they teamed him up with tough as nails cop Cameron Westlake, played by Heather Medway, who you might remember from Models Inc. She was Stephanie Smith in Models Inc.
Sorry.
She was Ashley in the movie The Fear.
The Fear?
The Fear.
Sounds familiar.
That was the thing with the wooden statue that looked like Robin Williams.
What?
No.
That sounds kind of amazing, though.
I'm not familiar with it either.
I have no idea what this strange thing you're speaking of is, but a statue that looks like Robin Williams, I mean, it seems like it should check out.
All right. More contemporarily, more well known. She was in an episode of the TV show Friends. She was Kristen in the episode titled "The One with the Candy Hearts."
I don't watch Friends. Never did.
I watched Friends, but I didn't enjoy it.
I've seen too much of Friends.
They're kind of assholes. Like, everybody talks about the characters in Seinfeld being assholes, but the characters in Friends were bigger assholes.
At least they're honest about the characters in Seinfeld. Like, in Friends, they try to make them be the good guys. It's like, no.
No, Ben
sitcoms.
Ben Grimm remembers here.
Yeah, he knows what it's about. I'm not
Hey,
surprised.
Ben.
I knew Ben would remember. I can count on him to remember these things. So yeah, you had Heather Medway in there. Not very well known. She's actually a pretty good actress, so I don't understand what happened to her career. Maybe she gave it up to the creepy Hollywood. She plays tough as nails cop Cameron Westlake, who has some trouble on the force because she was involved in a shootout with one of the gangs that the Viper eventually goes up against in the first episode. And her partner dies, and she feels awful about it because there was nothing she could do, and he gets all shot up, and all the other cops are super mean to her about it, as if it was her fault. And she's punching out this guy who was a misogynist about women being on the force, and he's like, oh, well, that's why women shouldn't be cops, blah, blah, blah. And then she's like, oh, yeah, and then she punches him out with a right hook. Fuck you.
Ooh.
Fuck you. Fuck you.
Okay.
And they assign her to special projects, which she's not happy about because she just wants to be a regular cop and wants to make detective. She doesn't want this cloak and dagger bullshit. She doesn't know that there's an awesome car yet.
Does she come around when she finds about the cool car?
Oh, yes. And she has a secret attraction to Thomas Cole when they meet, which... It's funny because they meet earlier in the episode. He's testing the Viper out in car mode, in like regular civilian mode, where it's just a Viper, and he's speeding. He's going like 90 miles an hour on an open road, and she pulls him over, and they get into this cute little snarky discussion about, oh, I'm just driving my car, and it got away with me. And she's like, you're going 90. He's like, oh, I thought I was going 95. And like, it's funny little banter moment. And she ends up handcuffing him to the car and leaving because she's got a call she's got to go on.
I can get behind this.
Jen, I can tell your interest is piqued.
Yeah. Handcuffs immediately.
They have to be fuzzy, though. Fuzzy handcuffs.
Not for me.
No, they're just friggin' police issue handcuffs, Cara. You got to tough it out. It's all about the cold steel on the well.
That's what I tell Marty.
Oh no.
Fuzzy handcuffs look better.
It's you're a cop, though. You can't show up with the fuzzy handcuffs to arrest a perp.
Any job, huh?
That's fair, John.
They become a great team. They get over their little rough patch from the earlier traffic stop. She's introduced to Frankie, who is still excessively Italian, but not to the point where like you're screaming at your television set. It's like, okay. And we're introduced to a new member of the team, super tech savvy, almost hacker-esque kind of girl, Ali Farrow, played by Dawn Stern, who you might remember. She was in an episode of The Sentinel. She was in the episode Warriors. She played Janet Myers in the episode Warriors. She was Caitlin Freeman in the Star Trek Enterprise episode, the 2 Days, 2 Nights.
Okay.
And she was Callista in Star Hunter.
Not familiar with that one.
Wait, I just noticed something.
What?
Kind of every show I've kind of heard, not every show we've talked about, like that has been on here, but like most of the shows, there's somehow an actor connected with Star Trek.
Funny how that works.
That's not a shocking coincidence. That's intentionally. If you've been on an episode of any of the Star Trek spin-offs or original series, I will mention that when I talk about you as an actor. It's what I do. I like Star Trek. I like to point out the connection to Star Trek. We got to keep going back to Star Trek. It's all about Star Trek.
Yay.
Yay.
But what about Star Wars?
Not as good as Star Trek. Anyway.
Frasier is good, Mac.
I may have upset some people with that comment, but hey, you like what you like. I like what I like. I like both, but I like Star Trek better.
I get that. Nothing wrong with that. I've never seen Star Wars except some porn, so.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh,
Jen, watch the actual movies. Watch the movies.
Jen, there's a Star Trek porn parody as well. You might want to visit with Marty.
I know. I've mentioned it too. See, I'm way more familiar with Star Trek, so I would know what we were talking about with that porn. I've mentioned it to Marty. He says maybe if I'm good. He says if I'm good.
Don't give her ideas for streams, especially those kind of streams. No.
They don't need to give me ideas. They're already there.
She also, Dawn Stern. She also played Kat Ingersoll or I don't know. I can't read what I wrote here, but she was Kat in an episode of True Blood.
Okay.
Oh. Okay.
I've heard of True Blood, never seen it. I heard it's about vampires.
Yeah.
But there's
True
no
Blood.
Blade, so I do not watch. No Blade. No Blade. No Blade, I don't watch vampire. Unless it's Dracula.
All right. Well, that's fair enough. So that's kind of their root team, and they all have to report to this really snooty, arrogant, kind of a bastard fella by the name of Sherman Catlett, who is an FBI director at this point. He is played by Jay Downing, who you may remember from Ghoulies 2.
Yay!
Oh. Who was he in Ghoulies 2?
He was P. Hardin.
Oh.
Wait.
So he was P.
did you
Hardin
say-
in Ghoulies 2. He was also in
I thought you said Goonies too. I'm like,
What,
what?
Kara?
There was a Goonies too? I thought you said
no,
Goonies,
no,
not
no.
Ghoulies.
No, Ghoulies.
There will never be a
Ghoulies 2.
Goonies 2. Better not.
No, don't do it, Hollywood. You're on warning. He was also in 2 episodes of Jag. Guys, you like Jag. Come on, who doesn't like Jag?
I know Jag.
Like many things you guys talk about, I have no idea what the heck JAG is.
Oh, JAG's awesome. It stands for Judge Advocate General, and it's a show about naval law. And it that sounds kind of dry and boring, but it's not. It's cool. There's all sorts of footage of F-16s taking off and explosions and military combat, and like you got to defend. It's cool. It's cool.
Yeah. It ran for quite a while, if I remember correctly. Had a
Yeah,
good long stuff like.
It was great. It was created by Quantum Leap creator Donald P. Belisario.
Yeah.
Or Belisario. Yeah. Jay Downing was also in an episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation titled "The Quality of Life."
Very cool. I
Which
think
that
I
was
might
that
have seen that one. I think I might
That
have.
That was the one with the exocomps, the little robots that were alive, and Data was trying to defend them.
Yeah, I remember that because I liked it. Data was a favorite of mine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Data.
Of course,
What about the
portrayed-
board?
Of course, portrayed by Brent Spiner, great actor. Never really got to do much because he did too good of a job as Data.
Well, he did have the Night Court where he played the redneck one half of the redneck couple. I love that.
Oh yes, I love that
Oh.
episode.
Yeah.
It was a good episode.
God, I can't remember the name, but you know who I'm talking about, the redneck couple. Yeah.
I remember when I saw that after, because Night Court happened before Star Trek: The Next Generation, so wouldn't be till the rerun that I'd see it and I'd be like, oh, Data's a friend.
It's freaky. Like, because I love Night Court too, and then I like Star Trek, and then I'm like, no, you think it's just like a coincidence, like the two actors look like each other, and you're like, no way.
But it's pretty cool. That was the cast, and it would stay that way for 2 seasons. It would stay that way for about a season or so. Then they would replace Dawn Stern. They got rid of her character. They replaced her with a dog.
What the fuck?
Yeah, They replaced her with a dog.
Oh my
They
god.
introduced the dog in an episode where she's there, and the dog sort of sticks around, and then the show comes back, and Dawn's no longer there, and it's just Frankie alone in the complex with this dog.
That's horrible.
Okay.
Why did they replace her with a dog? What was the motivation?
Because dogs are cute.
Yeah. Dogs equal ratings.
But the dog wouldn't be a mainstay for long because the dog would disappear for season 4. They would keep Jay Downing, they would keep Heather Medway, but we would lose Jeff Cack. But more impressively, in the season premiere, we would get Dorian Harewood back for an episode, and return later for another episode or two. And more importantly than that, we got James McCaffrey. He came back. Joe Astor came back.
Okay, cool.
And
Wait,
of course,
did the
this
guy in
episode,
the wheelchair come back?
So did they end.
yeah, Dorian Harewood, the guy who played
Oh.
Julian Will.
My bad, I don't know their names. My bad.
That's
No,
okay.
you're good. You're good. And he's no longer the guy in the wheelchair when he comes back, Trench. He used the morphing technology from the Viper to fix his shattered spine.
Of course he did. Of course.
So now he walks with a cane. Yes, Julian can walk.
Yeah. Okay. I can't begrudge someone who can get out who can walk. You can't.
Well, he fixed it so where he could walk, but he couldn't fix it where he didn't need a cane.
That's a good point.
He can walk, Trench. Maybe he's still maybe he's still learning how to walk without a cane, or without the chair, and the cane is a
that's
crutch.
fair enough.
Rehabilitation kind of thing.
I still think it's pretty impressive. He went from paralyzed to now I'm walking around like normal.
Yeah, it is impressive, but yeah. I mean, how good is the technology when you still need a cane? It's supposed to be like very high tech.
Guys, he was in a wheelchair. I think we're missing the point here. He can walk now.
We need better technology.
Well, all right. Granted, he can't shoot like a grappling hook or an electromagnetic pulse out of his butt, but he can walk, for crying out loud, guys. This is impressive.
Yeah, I'm with that.
Okay, it's kind of cool.
These youngins, Ethel, these youngins, you can't impress them like back in our day.
Now, and I'll go over this beginning of this season 4 episode, and honestly, between all the seasons, I think season 1 is good. Season 4 is probably the best. The 2 seasons in the middle are really are decent too. Like it doesn't have a dip in quality as you would expect. It has sort of a gradual increase and a level off until season 4, and then it gets way better all of a sudden out of nowhere.
Do Joe Astor and Cole team up?
No. This happens. All right. So let me rewind just a wee little bit, and this might be a spoiler, but it's kind of hard to spoil a show that you're unable to watch because it's not available on streaming, and the only way, as I can see it, that you're able to watch it is if you buy it on DVD.
Or pirate it.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Or a matey.
But at the end of season 3, I'm not going to give away why it happens, but the Viper is tragically destroyed. It's blown up. It explodes.
No.
Oh, and the wonderful red Viper that we knew for 3 seasons is dead. It's gone. The Defender is gone. What do we do? What do you do? You're gonna cry because it's sad. And I remember that episode. I was so sad, and I'm like, no. What about the show? How are we gonna have a show without a car? And then season 4 happened, and not only do we get the Viper back, but it's blue now, and it's the next model that Dodge came out with. It's the GTS.
Okay. I would kept
I
it
just
red, but whatever.
coincidentally, Well, the cool thing is it's faster, it's sportier, and like the newer model, it has more options. The new Defender that this car transforms into, it can become a hovercraft, and it's got torpedoes and missiles and a whole host of other really cool things that it never had before. Yeah,
Okay.
pretty cool.
Basically, it was just an update. It was just an update, like a phone update.
Well, yeah, but as we saw in the previous episode, the first episode, they have trouble finding a guy who can drive it. Just like we saw in the first episode of season 2, they can't find anyone to drive this car. Everyone sucks.
Like
so
Madison.
What do you do, Ethel?
You know?
What do you do in that conundrum?
What do? You lost Thomas Cole. You don't have Joe Astor. What do? Well, Frankie tries to drive the car in season 4. He takes a whack at it. He takes the obstacle course with the Viper, the civilian model, and he's driving around the obstacle course, and he's doing pretty good. He's avoiding the other cars. He's avoiding the fireballs that are getting shot at the car. He's avoiding the explosions. He's doing pretty good. And then all of a sudden he crashes it and the car blows up. And just like in Die Hard 2, he's launched with his seat right out of the car into the air, right at the camera. And then he lands in a cornfield completely okay.
Okay. Corn, the power of corn, Ethel.
The power of corn. It's a wonderful superfood. It's also grass. Did you know it was grass?
Wasn't aware of that one.
What's a type of grass? Look it up. Corn's a type of grass.
Okay, cool.
So they've definitively proved that all their drivers that they were interviewing suck on toast. They can't drive at all. And even Frankie, the guy who works on the Viper and controls all the systems from the complex, can't drive it. Nobody can drive it. This unwieldy car, it's too powerful for just anybody. And it's sad. And like Julian comes back because he's got to bring a new Viper to the complex, and they got to figure out a way to transport it there. And the FBI is shady deals trying to transport this car, and he doesn't quite trust them, so he makes a little phone call. And who should show up? Well, Joe Astor. Apparently he was in Morocco and Thailand this whole time.
Okay.
With St. John.
No, just him, no syndrome. He shows up.
Oh.
And he's supposed to bring the Viper, and like we think for a little while that he doesn't show up in time because Julian is kidnapped with the brand new Viper right out of the back of the truck by a gang that's trying to get the Viper because they know about it somehow.
How do they know about it, Ethel? Isn't this supposed to be top secret kind of thing?
Well, we find out exactly how they know about it at the end of the episode, but I don't want to spoil it. Don't spoil it.
Gotcha.
But they kidnap him, and as it turns out, they've been hoodwinked. It was a civilian model. The real Viper is being driven by Joe Astor to the complex because Julia didn't trust him.
Okay.
Then of course he meets Cameron Westlake, who had been demoted but has secretly snuck into the complex because she don't care about no rules. You can't tell me what to do, Mr. FBI Director. I do what I want.
I do what I want.
You know?
90s woman.
It's my hot sports car. I'll do what I want. So she sneaks into the complex to do some detective work, and surprise, surprise, Joe Astor is there, and she doesn't know who he is, and she's like, who are you? What are you doing here? I need to see identification. And the two instantly get in sort of a scuffle and a wrestling match in which she beats him and pulls a gun out to his face, and she's like, you better tell me who you are or you're going to get a third eye. then Frankie breaks up the fight, and she's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "What are you doing?" That's Joe Astor.
I see we're
John,
setting up
there
for
are two
sexual tension.
Sinjins. There's the old Sinjin and there's the newer Sinjin.
There we go.
The
My
team-
internet must have cut out or something.
But the team is together now officially, somewhat, and suffice it to say, they find out some of the new options of the Viper, and they rescue Julian. And it's good times are here again, as we've got a brand new sports car with all the options and some that they didn't have before, and we got the original driver back, the very charismatic, very handsome James McCaffrey, Joe Astor, and we still got Frankie in there, comic relief. We got tough as nails cop Cameron Westlake, friggin' putting it down and telling Joe, "Hey, I'm not your sidekick, I'm your partner. I can press the controls too."
This is an equal thing.
Yeah, and I don't want to overshadow it, but she drives the Viper sometimes too. When Joe or Thomas are unavailable to drive it, she'll drive it. She takes it upon herself. She's like, "I don't care. I could drive it too. I'll do it too."
That's crazy, Ethel. A mere woman driving this high-powered machine. It's science fiction.
She's firing the missiles. Oh, and it's important to note, while the original Viper in the first season was defensive only, it didn't have any guns or missiles or anything. In season 2, all the way through season 4, that's changed. It now has 40 caliber machine guns and rockets and missiles and torpedoes and lasers, and we're not trying to just defend things now. Now we're like,
It's serious.
Ready to kill.
But the guy in the wheelchair who can suddenly walk again said not to do that.
Well, that's where the tech girl put in the machine guns, and then for some reason, when Julian rebuilt it, he put them in anyway automatically. So I guess he had to change the
Forget that no kill rule. We don't need that. Murder them all. Send them to hell. That's where they belong.
Well, they don't kill anyone. At least not intentionally. They don't kill anyone with the machine guns. They just blow things up and do that A-team thing where they shoot at the car and cause it to crash, which arguably could be just as fatal and dangerous as shooting somebody. So,
What about the lasers, Ethel? Usually lasers are pretty deadly. Marty showed me enough movies with lasers to know they're pretty deadly.
Shout out to Night Beast.
Oh no.
Great movie.
Shout out not based. I'm sorry, guys. I hated that movie.
But
It's fantastic.
those are the basic plot points and characters in the show, and actors and actresses. The show, it lasted 1994 to 1999. It did 80 episodes and ran 4 seasons.
Pretty respectable.
Which is pretty good for a show nobody talks about, nobody's heard of, everyone has forgotten, and didn't talk about when it was new.
Question: did you watch it all the way through, like every episode?
Yep, I've seen I own it, but before I owned it, I used to tape it on VHS, good old VHS, right off the television set. I'd stay up till 2 in the morning, and I'd record this, and I'd edit out all the commercials so that I could watch it commercial free later.
See, I like the commercials. I love the commercials. I left them in on mine.
Well, Jen, it's economics, because I get an 8-hour VHS. If I edit out all the commercials, I can squeeze an extra 2 hours on there.
Oh my God, Ethel, I never thought of that. You're right. You're a genius. But I don't know. Sometimes it's cool to look at those old things and see things for the clapper and stuff like that. It's kind
Yeah,
of
but
cool.
wouldn't you want to have each?
Well, sometimes I'd fall
Wouldn't
asleep
you want
and
to
I'd
see
forget to edit
like
up.
each
So like,
tape
the
be one
episode might have
episode?
commercials. So, what? I'm sorry. What, Kara?
I was asking, wouldn't you, if putting 2 episodes on one tape, wouldn't you want to have 1 episode per tape?
That's expensive.
No. And it takes up a lot of room.
Well, I don't understand. All I understand is DVDs. I don't understand these ancient tapes.
Oh, VHS, you could pirate TV before the internet.
Yeah. And pirate movies and all kinds of stuff.
And they promoted it.
Yeah. They wanted you to.
Did you have 2 VCRs? Did you ever like get stuff from the yeah.
All right. I had 2 VCRs, and I may have, on occasion, accidentally left a blank tape in one and put the movie in the other one, and accidentally watched it through the first VCR, and maybe potentially accidentally hit record on the other VCR, and maybe ended up with a copy of the tape from my own. It just happens.
I
these
know.
things happen.
No, totally. It like happened to me almost every time I rented movies. It was the weirdest thing.
Yeah, it's almost like every single time I rented something from good old Home Vision Video or Videoport, I would end up a copy for myself. I don't know how it happened. It was a crazy freak thing.
It was like a bonus.
What are these ancient?
And that's okay.
What are these ancient movie rental places? What are these ancient things of old times?
You've never been to. There were even blockbusters when I was alive.
Hey! I was just joking. I've been when I was like a little kid. That's where I got my copy of Spider-Man 1. Was a Blockbuster.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah, because Christian.
I was around at the end of their lives, though. They were dying when I was going around them. Like, they were all going out of business. I remember them selling all their movies, and I was just like, why rent a movie when I can have it? So I bought movies from there. That's how I got my copy of Spider-Man 1.
But that aside, some of the facts of the show that I pirated legally off television because there were commercials, and I was paid. Hey, I had to watch that same stupid Downey commercial 30 times a day. I earned that. I earned that.
That's true.
Pirating.
If ever you're not satisfied with one of our tires, please feel free to bring it back.
We had to learn that fucking Mountain Dew is extreme fucking 15 times a day. We learned that. That was our right. Now it's fun to note. Now it's fun to note that in the show, the Vipers, the civilian models, the red Vipers in the first few seasons, it was not the production model. It was actually, they were provided with 4 Vipers from Dodge that were prototypes. These were like the ones that they made before they decided like what the features were and what it had and what it was going to be like for regular folk. These were their working prototypes they were given for the show. Because Chrysler was very involved in the production of this. They basically funded the show. And it had a lot of Chrysler and Dodge products. Like if you watch the show, there's a lot of Dodge Intrepid prototypes and concept cars from Chrysler that they just put in the show because it's the future. And we've got these cars that some of them have engines, some of them don't. Let's put them in the show. So they did.
You think if Chrysler put all this money into the show, you think they would have marketed it more?
Well, they couldn't do anything about the marketing because that's done through the studios and the networks.
Yeah.
So they put all that money in kind of for nothing because nobody knows about the show.
It's not for nothing. We still got a show. We got 4 seasons. That ain't nothing.
Yeah.
Now, this film, this show, as I mentioned, was filmed in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and they would frequently close the Deerfoot Trail for filming, which was the city's major freeway, and this was kind of upsetting for the unexpected locals who were just trying to get to work. They'd go to get on the freeway, and the fucking thing would be closed because they're filming Viper.
You gotta call your boss. They're filming again. I'm gonna be late.
I can't get to work. That damn silver car is on the highway again, driving up and down it.
It's climbing walls like Spider-Man.
I'm gonna be 30 minutes late to work. I have to take the long way. Sorry.
No one even knows this show.
Oh, it's kind of cool though. Even though this show was somewhat of an unknown, it was a trailblazer as far as filming in Canada was concerned, because after they started filming the show in Canada, the rate of TV and film productions increased in the city of Calgary with U.S. and European productions. They all started coming to Canada and filming because they're like, oh, fuck. These Canucks will close off their major highway just to film like a TV show nobody's going to promote or watch.
And nobody's gonna get to work on time.
So that's where the CW got it from.
So they did that. That was kind of cool. Originally, I said this show ran into a lot of problems. It was sabotaged. And it was. The show was supposed to be on CBS. It was supposed to debut in the fall of 1993, and it got delayed because of a fellow by the name of Stephen J. Cannell, who had a new TV show set to debut at the same year and almost the same time. And guess what he titled his show? Viper.
Viper.
That's not confusing.
Yeah, and this was a problem because you can't do that. Like, you can't have two shows with the same title at the same time in the same time slot.
I don't remember one. Let alone another one.
Now, this pissed off Chrysler. Chrysler got pretty heated about this, and they slapped him with a lawsuit, and it went to court, and they forced Cannell to rename his show Cobra.
Was it about snakes?
I'm not sure what it was about. I think it was about secret agents or something. It was stupid. Pick another snake, Cannell. If the name might sound familiar, if you watch a lot of TV, he was the guy who was behind The Greatest American Hero, 21 Jump Street, and Rockford Files.
Oh, okay.
Hey, I know 21 Jump Street.
The original.
I know that one.
I love how quickly
With Johnny Depp, yeah.
Not the movie.
My mom watched that as a teenager. She has it on DVD.
Oh, cool. Now, Cobra, it went on to run, and it proved to not be as successful as Viper. It did one season, and they canned it.
There you go.
See, at least Viper is remembered by at least two people. Like, this show's remembered by no one.
That's true.
Yeah. Well, does anybody remember Cobra?
That's what I'm saying. Cobra!
No, I'm
I
just
remember
literally
that.
looking at you blankly.
Did they scream the word Cobra at these military people and like go after them?
What? No.
I was referencing G.I. Joe.
No, it's not G.I. Joe. Anyway, so you'd think that would be the end of the problems. Like, okay, cool. You got that handled, CBS. Well, the show was delayed yet again because CBS decided that the show was too violent. Yeah. We got the show about a car. And it criminals, and there's cops that shoot guns, and the car doesn't have any guns on it, but it can shut down other cars, and it's got a grappling hook. And CBS said, this is too violent. We don't want this.
It was too violent, so they added machine guns.
Oh no!
Exactly.
The machine guns came later. So CBS said no, and then Chrysler said, look, guys. All right, we're trying to make a show, but we're also trying to sell cars here. And how can we show everybody how awesome our new sports car that's sort of affordable as far as hyper sports cars are concerned, if you're not going to put our damn cop show on the air? So backing the project, and NBC said, hey, Chrysler, you guys are putting a lot of money into this, and we used to have a successful show about a supercar. How about you come on over to NBC? So NBC picked it up, and even though it was too violent for CBS originally, it's ironic because later, after NBC would cancel it due to ratings they weren't too happy with, which that's something else altogether, it would air in syndication on CBS affiliates.
Okay.
Here's my question.
Why their morals said it was too violent, but we're gonna let it run in reruns. That's fine.
How did you react to the change of it being on NBC to go into CBS? How'd you react to that change?
Well, it was good. It was a good change. It was a bad time slot, but at least it was consistently on, and it didn't. Neither network pushed it. Both networks kind of were just like, all right, we've got this show. It fills up time. We're not excited.
So, here's another question I have. What got you into the show? Like, did you watch it from the start and then just all the way to the end?
Yeah, I watched it. I happened to catch it on late night TV because it was already I didn't watch it when it premiered because it didn't run in my area. It was on NBC, but on my NBC affiliate, they decided to run something else in that time slot. So I actually didn't catch it until it aired on CBS. I only saw bits and pieces of it on NBC when they would slip up and it would be on a different time slot because they had to carry it.
Right.
Because network TV is like Kara, network TV is very different from cable. Because cable, you've got one TV station that's broadcast all over the place by cable companies. Network TV, you've got programming made by a network that's broadcast by separate affiliates, which are basically franchises of that company scattered all throughout the United States.
See, I didn't have cable for a while when I was a kid, but now I just watch YouTube instead of TV.
Okay. Well, that's sort of how it works. So, all right. So NBC says that you've got to put Friends on at 8:00 every Thursday night because it's must-see TV. That's a show that you have to put on at 8:00 if you're in Denver, if you're in New York, if you're in friggin' Texas and you're an NBC affiliate, you have to follow that. But then there'd be shows where they'd say, all right, this is not part of the primetime lineup. So, you can air this, but you might not necessarily have to air it at 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock or 6 o'clock. You can put it on wherever it fits for your local area. And that's what would happen. And that's usually what happens.
Educational.
Huh?
That's educational.
Yay!
I don't know. I think nowadays TV is a outdated source. We got YouTube and streaming services now.
I don't know. I still watch television, but maybe that's just because I'm old. But that's a debate for a different episode of this show. Perhaps we'll do one on that specific. But whether
We're not
it's
old,
what
Ethel. We're not old.
we're seasoned. We're seasoned. But whether or not internet is better than television, or cable is better than television, or internet is better than it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. That's all personal opinion. Getting back to this, after one season, they canceled this. NBC said, forget it. Paramount decided to rework this show. They picked it up. They were behind the production, them and Chrysler, and they wanted this for syndication. So they reworked the show. They got rid of they got rid of most of the cast. They kept Joe Napoli, and they brought in Heather Medway and everybody else, and they changed the dynamic of the show just a little bit, just a few tweaks. Added more explosions, machine gun fire, really ramped it up, make it more exciting for syndication. And they ended up selling it, and it aired weekends starting in September of 1996.
Okay.
So it's essentially, it started in 94, got canceled and not renewed for 95, and it took a year off to be reworked. It came back in 96. So there's a break, 1 year where it wasn't on TV.
Gotcha.
So you as a fan of this show had to wait a year for it to come back?
Yeah. And it was sad because, you don't know if it's coming back. You think it's dead and gone forever after that season, and it doesn't come back. So it's you're just okay, that's sad. I liked it.
Bummer.
When if you missed an episode, were you able to rewatch it?
No. Unless they play it again or you taped it, it's gone.
Yeah.
It's lost to the ages unless somebody else plays it or you can get your hands on a copy of it. It's gone. Gone!
That's very different from how I watch things.
Well,
Very different.
all right. Can you watch it now without trying to pirate it?
No, I was talking about this show specifically. I'm talking about not being able to because okay, so I when right now I don't watch cable, but when I did watch cable, what they would do is they'd play an episode of a new show, and then a few hours later, if you missed it, there'd be another airing of it. So you wouldn't if you missed the first airing, you catch on the next one. Yeah. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's the way you had it was very different to the way I watched.
Well, some shows did that, not all shows, but I've seen that before, Carl. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, it's but anyway, we're getting off topic just a little bit, but I get what you're saying, Kara. So they made this show. They got it into syndication. It ran, and for season 2, it was still filmed in Alberta. For season 3 and 4, production was moved to from Calgary to Vancouver. I don't know why. Maybe they got tired of Deerfoot Trail being blocked off. Who knows?
Everyone was missing work. That goddamn show no one is watching.
But like I said, they wouldn't promote this show, and there actually was a series of advertisements, and I was lucky enough to see these advertisements. They were never shown in my local area. I had never seen them in anybody else's local area, because occasionally, every year, I would go to New York, and I would get to watch their television for a week. So
wow.
I got to see what it was like over in Trenchies Market, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
But I would never see these commercials, and I would never see the show when I was there. But I had a little resource not everybody seemed to have. I had a satellite dish. I had one of these disused satellite dishes from the cable company, and we had it set up out back. And you had to physically move this thing. You had to go out there with a compass and you had to grab this giant dish and rotate it by hand with your compass and try to find the satellite dish or the satellite that was broadcasting. And like, we found one that had a lot of downloads. And what downloads were was if you're a local affiliate and you're providing programming to everybody, like say you're in Maine, you're NBC of Maine, and you've got to broadcast an episode of the Cosbys or whatever the hell. Well, you don't have that, and they don't send you a tape. You have to download that from a satellite orbiting the Earth with a tape. And a lot of these things were unscrambled, or you could buy a descrambler and you could get the actual feed that the cable company would be getting and recording and then playing at a later date. So I happened to see a bunch of these ads for Viper off of this satellite. It was called T1. It was called T1 was the satellite that I was hooked into.
Very cool.
Yeah. So I got to see that. This is also how I got to see that 70s show before it premiered.
Okay.
Oh.
Cool. Very cool. Very neat.
Yeah, I tried to.
That is very weird way of getting to watch something, and it sounds very complicated.
Nah,
But their pirating is way more badass. Like, that is a way more badass way to pirate something.
Yes,
Fun
but
fact,
eye
I
touches
saw that.
and hook hands.
Fun,
I'm sorry.
fun fact, I saw that 70s show almost a full month before most people would see it on live television because I caught it on a download.
That's awesome.
So you were talking about it before anybody else. You could be like, "Hey, I'm from the future. See, I have this knowledge on a show none of you watch."
But I don't know. It was kind of cool. It was
Yeah.
kind of cool. I saw all these commercials, and they consisted of like a car at the time that was new and cool. Like they'd have a Corvette, or they would have a Hummer, and then they would cut to the Defender, and then it would launch a missile at the other car and blow it up, and then they'd say Viper, and then you'd put in what time it was on in your local station.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. I like that.
Hey, Christian.
Hey, Spark.
But it was kind of cool way of seeing things. As I mentioned earlier, Joe Napoli would be the only character that would be in all 4 seasons. We got James McCaffrey back to play Joe Astor for the 4th season and final season, which, it was great. The season 1 ran in 94. Season 2 wouldn't start until 96. I mentioned all of that. Once the show was over and you wanted to watch it, it was gone for the longest time. It wasn't available on VHS. Nobody released a DVD for it up until 2017. Almost 18 years after the series finale. You had to wait 18 years, guys. But we finally got it. Finally got it on DVD.
Oh, you have it. Cool. That's a nice box set. That's sexy.
Yeah, from the outside, this looks like a very nice box set. It has a slipcase that goes over it, but I left that upstairs. You think, oh, this is great. This is going to be really fancy when I open it up. You open it up.
Oh, no.
And this is the setup you got.
Okay.
They've got them in these little
Sleeves. Yeah.
No, that's okay. They thank you, though. Look at this. They thank you.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's dope.
For US and Canada. Cool.
Yeah, Canada.
For all the
It's
people
like,
who
thank
missed
you. It's like, thank you for when we shut down our highway, you made it worth it.
it.
Now, I believe this was released by VEI. Yes, it was released by VEI. And the reason they released this was they bought another show that had a lot of coincidences with this show. They bought The Sentinel. And because they bought the rights to distribute The Sentinel, they also bought the rights to distribute Viper. And to everybody's delight, they'd announced that they would be carrying it the following summer of 2017, and they released it, and thank goodness they did, because all I had up until this point was the VHS tapes I made when it was on TV, and thank goodness I'd made them.
Do you still have the VHS, Ethel?
Oh, of course I do. I have all my VHSs, so
yeah,
I still have them, and it's great. Those kept me going for 18 years.
And they'll still probably be around long after the DVDs.
Oh yeah. But I recommend buying it if you like it. If you can catch an episode, pirate an episode, see if you like it, see if the shoe fits.
Mm-hmm.
Check it out.
Pretty cool.
I should get my
I
own
agree
book.
with Brian.
Thanks, Brian. That's nice of you.
You should. He's right.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Ethel, did they do well? Like, did the sales of the DVDs do well, or was it just because sometimes they don't do very well? Did this one do fairly well sale-wise? The DVD sales?
I think they got their money back, but I don't think they made any huge gains because the show never caught on, and it's really a shame it didn't catch on. It should have been, it should have happened. It didn't happen for whatever reason. It didn't do it.
I get that.
I mean, it didn't help that when they broadcast it in syndication, at least in my area, it wouldn't air until 2 a.m. on, I think it was Saturday night.
When drunk people were coming home.
Which, honestly, that's a great time to watch Viper after you've had a few and, you just come home from work or come home from the bars or relax, put your feet up.
Yeah, I get that. Kind of just wanted to have fun but not think too hard.
Yeah,
Very
see,
cool.
look, right here. This right here. Christian is being a good example right here, if we could get it on the screen.
Yeah. Never heard of this show. Yeah, he was telling me. I was telling him about it, and he said, "I don't." It surprised me because he usually knows his stuff.
Do you think
Yep.
this is a show that Christian would be interested in?
Maybe. I don't know. Spark, would it be a show you'd be interested in? Probably.
It's really cool. And there's a villain in the first episode with an accent, but I don't know what accent it is. It sounds British, but it could be Australian. I don't know.
Very cool.
I haven't
there's
seen a lot, but from what I've heard, it's pretty interesting. I'm interested in this show.
There's a lot of standout episodes. There's an episode where they take on essentially the Irish mob.
Well, that got my interest.
Thought you'd like that. There's an episode where a Scandinavian spy decides to assume the identity of Cameron Westlake and makes her look like a criminal. That's kind of cool.
Oh, very cool. Cool. Yeah, Sparky might check it out.
Yeah, check it out. I can't recommend it enough. It's don't sleep on it. If you like action, you like super high-tech things. Oh, that's the other thing. The world of this show, it takes place in the not too distant future. So technology is advanced, but it's not Jetsons-y. But it's evolved in a way where it's everywhere, and they just use it for things, and it sort of predicts some of the stuff of the day.
Oh, very cool. Very cool.
They don't mention it really dialogue-wise, but you see it on screen. There are these cables that they hook up to the Viper when it's in Defender mode, and they're working on it. And they're little, they've got fiber optic lights at one end, and they're magnetic, and they hook to the car. And it's sort of like how we've got these magnetic chargers for all these devices now, where you don't plug it in, you just stick the device to the thing and it charges.
Very cool. That is
So,
neat when something predicts it from that far, from that long ago.
Yeah, and to the best of my knowledge, this is the only show I can remember that had a drone in it. As was just like regular technology that would be out there, and like, oh yeah, this is the probe. It's an unmanned drone.
Yeah,
They predicted the
drone is
future.
cool.
And well, it was just kind of cool, and it's neat that a car company would back an ambitious production that unfortunately no one would see because the networks tried to bury it.
It's weird
Yeah,
what
networks,
things take
yeah.
off.
Back
and
in 6. Yeah, especially that they tried to bury the show. That does suck.
Yeah, and it's sad because it was a good show. It had, I mean, it wasn't like, all right, this isn't Citizen Kane or anything, but it sure as hell deserved better than what it got.
Well, maybe some people that are watching tonight will like be interested in what you're saying, and maybe a few people will check it out because of the stream. So there you go, Ethel.
Yeah, and in fact, Brian, if you want to share this out, you should do it, and not even for my sake, just maybe so people will think about the show and check it out. And,
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, you got me wanting to view it. So I'm pretty sure other people will be interested.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is a good thing.
That's just one of the reasons I wanted to talk about it, and why I seem to have gone into so much depth talking about the plot and the characters, more than I usually would do. I think because I want people to know about it.
Exactly, I get that. Well, you did good. I bet you there's going to be a lot more people, even if they don't see the stream tonight, they'll catch it and they'll be like, "Hey, this sounds like something I need to check out."
Yeah, and you should check it out.
Very
If
cool.
you like action, you can't go wrong. Coincidentally, did I mention that the blue viper, the one we see in season 4, the one that looked like this?
Sexy.
Very
But
sexy.
those are old, like toys,
Huh?
or are those like new things? Are those like the old toys you used to have that you bought, or like as a kid, or are those like new ones you bought?
These are the ones I got way back when I was into the show. They're not related to the show at all, other than the fact that they're vipers, which is what was featured in the show. But I liked the show so much that I was all about this car for the longest time because it was so cool. And it is a cool looking car. Like, guys, what do you think of this car? Is this a cool car or what?
Oh yeah,
They look badass.
they do.
So there was never any like toys or stuff for the show.
No, it never caught on, so it didn't get anything. This is as close, if you were into the show, this is as close to a toy you could get.
It makes
still
me
sick.
go into my Tonic Detain mode and want to get up on it and do a White Snake video.
Which these were really great die-cast models. These were made by Urigo,
Very cool.
made in Italy,
Ooh.
not China, Italy, by Urigo.
Oh. Ethel, could you show the red one?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. Oh,
I like
shit.
the red one. It looks
does.
better.
They're
Oh, that's
like
sexy.
spot on though. At least the red one is.
What was in the trunk? What was that?
Oh, it was from a Beanie Baby.
Ooh.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah, I heard about those things. Those were kind of the Funko Pops of your guys' era.
Yeah, this
A fad that people want to buy.
this has probably been in the trunk of this car since 1994.
Ooh.
And see, as you can see, all the little doors open. It's got little mirrors.
That's really sick.
That is nice. Very sexy.
Of course, the hood opens.
I might do a video talking about my experience of Beanie Babies because I kind of want to do a video talking about the fads of each era. which Beanie Babies was kind of, I think, 80s or 90s, and then
90s.
of course now it's Funko Pops, which I wonder when that fad's gonna die.
Never.
Are you gonna talk about silly bands? I don't know why those were a thing, but they were.
Well,
Yeah, I'll go into. Oh, Ethel, sorry, I interrupted. You go.
No, it's okay. When the fad finally does, and they'll end up in a landfill somewhere.
Dumpster diving. Woo!
I'll try to do research on all the fads, like the pet rock, silly bands, fidget spinners, all of them. I want to do like a whole video talking about each era fad.
Oh, the Pet Rock's making a comeback. It's gonna be in the new Minions movie.
Oh.
But,
When is that coming out, Trenchy?
I don't know, but it's a thing.
Yeah, I know, because my little guy loves the Minions movies. He keeps asking me, Mom, when is this going to come out?
So, as I was going to say when I was showing off the Blue Viper, that color, which I don't know how, but they decided to release it in that die cast, that cobalt metallic blue color that you see in the show and you saw in that model, wasn't available for the production models to the public. That was made specifically for the show, and they would later release it on these die-cast models with no connection to the show, just coincidence.
Very cool. So it's like we got a sneak peek way before we actually got it. That's cool.
Yeah. Which was great because this is a GTS, this is an RT10. These were the two cars that were used in the show. You know, we're scaled models of them anyway.
Very cool.
Very cool. Which, talking about the car specifically, if you like, the GTS is a different story, but that RT10, that original Viper that Dodge came out with, very no frills. Oh, almost lost my model.
Uh-oh.
Stay. Very no frills. In fact, people would often burn their legs getting in and out of that Viper because, I don't know if you could see, but the exhaust is right here. It's a side-mounted exhaust. So getting in and out of the car, you would often burn your legs because you'd forget. And they even had a sticker on the floor that would say, watch out for hot exhaust.
Cool. Only in our generation.
And it didn't come with windows on the side. Like, you couldn't roll up the windows. It came with a cloth top that you could put over the top, and it came with these fabric and plastic vinyl windows that you could pop into the side. They just sort of slid into the door.
And this was one of the higher end things, right?
Yeah. And you couldn't lock it. Like, it didn't have any door handles. Like, there are no door handles, if you notice. And you couldn't lock it from the outside. You could only lock it from the inside. And if you wanted to open the door, you'd have to reach your arm in and open it from the inside.
Okay.
That sounds complicated.
It sounds easy to steal.
It's remarkably easy to steal.
Well, you did. Wait, didn't you say you had to reach across the thing to open the door? Wouldn't that be more difficult?
No.
Or wait, are you talking about when it's closed up or when it has the hood off? Like, or does it?
No, like,
I'm trying to understand.
If you put the windows in, and the top is up, to open the window, you just unzip it because it was a piece of plastic. And you actually see this in an episode. In an episode, they have the fucking windows in. And they use the cheap ones that come with the car. And it's so funny because it's like, there's no way that's going to be bulletproof.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's a good point.
But as you can see, there's no handles on this door. So you'd have to reach in and open it from the inside with the handle.
At least the people stealing the car will get punished by burning their legs when they come out.
True. And at least they addressed it in an episode. I mean, that's something kind of cool.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't really address it. They didn't really address it, but you got to see the hideous, ugly black cloth and vinyl windows that would pop into place. They didn't show why they popped into place or how it worked for obvious reasons, but that was a feature. Also, the interior, not as plush and luxurious as you would think for a fancy sports car. It was the cheapest plastic Chrysler had to offer.
Really? Okay.
Yep, everything was really cheap plastic, like you would find on like not even like you would find on like an Intrepid or like a Caravan. It was cheaper than that.
Oh shit. Okay.
Because it was made just to be an engine on wheels. That's all it was. Just drive it. But yeah, that's kind of cool. Those are some of the cool quirks of the show. I have no more fun little facts or notes. It was neat.
Yes, it was. Thank you for educating me, Ethel, because I probably would have never known about this if it wasn't for this stream. And you've given a lot of things, and you've made it very interesting. Definitely, I think there's going to be people watching who's going to go, damn, I want to know more about this show. So you should give yourself a pat on the back. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's definitely going to get more people probably talking about it, you know.
Yeah.
What do you mean,
I wouldn't have known about the show.
Job? You need to elaborate. I have a pretty good idea.
You did a good job, Ethel. And thank you for introducing me to the show because I really like what I saw.
Yeah.
I hope you get to see more episodes, Trench. If I had your address and some more money, perhaps I would buy you it. Or if you have Trench, you know what you should do? You should set up an Amazon wish list so people can buy you things and discreetly have it sent to you.
I don't know to do that. I'll just pirate it.
Arg.
I know how to do it. It's kind of tricky, but if you know how to exit out of things fast enough, you won't get any viruses or end up on any weird websites.
Yeah.
Well, just be careful. Just be careful, Trench. I don't want you to get all hacked and shit.
Well, I actually have a video store.
Before.
I have like a movie store at where I'm at, where they have like a place where you can buy like old movies, and like they have tons of movies and TV series and stuff. I'll see if they have Viper and like if they have like the whole series on a like DVD set or something. I don't know. I'll see what I can find, and I'll bring back the information.
I would be impressed if they had it. Honestly, I had to order this off of Amazon, and to the best of my knowledge, there's this company, VEI is the only company that has the rights to distribute it, and it might even be out of print by now, but I think it's still in print.
How much was it, Ethel? How much was it?
I think it was like $20 or $25.
That's not bad.
Very reasonable for 4 seasons and 80 episodes.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I'll see what I can find, and if I can find like multiple copies of it, you know, I could buy like 2 of them and then send one to Trench, or you know, buy how many people want it.
That's very cool.
That's very good.
You know, get more people into them.
That 25 cents, you don't think so, but going into Dollar Tree, it's not as cheap as it used to be.
Yeah, it's sad if we lost the dollar guarantee at Dollar Tree.
They
should change the name.
That's different for me. Everything at my Dollar Tree is still $1.
It'll change.
It will. No. Change is coming. But
no change. No, they shall not take the $1.
But that's basically what I had to share about the show. I hope people go and check it out. And in winding things down, I am going to go around the room we'll give people a chance to promote their shit because that's what we do, and that's what we do about it. And I'm going to start clockwise as always. So to my immediate right, we have the fabulous and funny and charismatic Jen from Jen's Reviews of the Great.
That's
And-
that's very sweet.
And Jen, what's coming up next? What's coming down the old Deerfoot Trail?
Well, Sparky and I did a video. We are continuing Full Moon's thing. Full Moon was doing a thing where you would pick 5 videos plus an honorable mention for every year of the 80s. We are on 1981, my birth year. So that'll come out sometime this week. And then hopefully Sparky and I on Tuesday will be able to film our thoughts and reactions to the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I've seen it twice. I have some thoughts, and I know Christian has some thoughts. So, and maybe a Tales from the Crypt episode as well. So we've got a few things coming around the pipeline, and and Marty and I are still probably going to try to do 9.5 weeks, maybe this Saturday with his schedule. We're still playing around with the schedule, but hopefully sometime we're going to do a thing on 9.5 weeks for Trash Fire Cinema.
Oh, excellent! I look forward to seeing all that. Especially the Trash Fire Cinema. I like what you guys got going on with that. It's fun shit.
Thank you.
Good,
well, the Irishman makes it all the difference. It's the Irishman that makes it awesome.
It's good crack.
It is.
That brings me next to Kara. Kara, you've recently did a watch along for the Spider-Man Raimi thing. What else you got going on? What's swinging on your web?
Me and Trenchy and a few other people are gonna be doing the next Sunday, right? The next Sunday stream, right?
No, next month. Next month Sunday.
Oh yeah, next month. Oh, okay, next month. Okay, we'll be doing the 90s Spider-Man and the 90s Marvel Universe. I'm gonna do Spider-Man 2 watch along pretty soon, and then also doing some more stop motion stuff, finishing up Spider-Man episode 1, getting that released, which is gonna be released very soon. Just got some more editing and stuff to do with that. That's basically what I got. And the Ash vs. Evil Dead stop motion, that'll be released soon.
Oh, excellent. Trench, what's going on, you soulless trench coat? What do you got for us?
Oh, I don't know yet. I'll go be on yours next Friday and on Sunday for whatever we're doing. But on my channel, I don't know what's happening.
Oh. All right. That's always an answer. And I guess that brings me to me. As for me, Sci-Fi Sunday, it continues this month. Next Sunday, I'm going to be talking about Thunder in Paradise. We're going to talk about the Hulk Hogan vehicle of choice. We're going to talk about Thunder, the Scarab boat with bulletproof skin and missiles and Chris Lemon. Yes.
We'll have to find a way to watch this.
It's available.
I don't even.
It's available on YouTube. You'll be able to watch it on YouTube.
I got to, because Hulk
It's on
Hogan did
YouTube.
it.
It's on YouTube. Trenchy, when you get the link, send that to me. I gotta see this. Just hear what they
I'll
say.
send you. Here's what I'm gonna do. Guys, here's what I'm gonna do. Send the link to Trench after we get off the air at some point, and I'm also gonna put it in the description. You guys, you think I should put it in the description for this video or for the next one?
How about both? But probably in this one so people can watch it. That way they can come prepared for Sunday if they want to.
Spread Hulkamania as much as possible.
All right.
Or
Here we
sex
go, guys.
tapes, Trenty. Don't forget the sex tape.
This is what I'm gonna do.
No.
Audience, this is what I'm gonna do. Viewers, current viewers, future viewers, past viewers. In the description of this video, it's not going to be in there quite yet, but check back in a few hours. I'm going to put the link to the channel that has the episodes of Thunder in Paradise available on their channel. Check it out. You can watch a few episodes. Watch the whole damn thing. You got a week, because Sunday we're going to be talking about it. And that'll give you a heads up. And that way when you watch it, you'll have experienced it. I couldn't do it with Viper because there were no episodes on YouTube available.
Good idea.
Just saying. But I got that going on next Sunday, and this Friday, I've got Watch Along. Watch Along is back. We're going to be watching Day of the Triffids. You demanded it. You demanded it. You heard it in that song from Rocky Horror Picture Show, and gosh darn it, you want it. And I'm going to give it to it because you're good enough, you're smart enough, and god darn it, people like you. So we got Day of the Triffids. I'm going to have special guests. I think perhaps I may have the Devious Diva on. I'm going to reach out to some other people. There's a certain YouTuber out there I think would be great for the show. I don't know if she'll be available because of the start time, but I'm going to reach out to Kara of Retro Horror Retrospectives because she put this channel. This movie was on her channel not too long ago, so it'd be great to have her on. So maybe she'll join us, maybe not. I don't know if I gotta ask. I haven't asked yet. But
maybe Triv too. Trivial Theater. That might be right up her alley too.
Oh yeah, I've got Triv tentatively scheduled for that episode, and I'm gonna see if she'll be available. But I'm gonna try and get Lady Shasha.
Oh, good group of people. Good group of people.
So hopefully we'll get the whole gang together, and of course hopefully I'll have you, Jen. I hope you'll be on.
Yes, I will be here.
I'm gonna have Trenchy. I think. I hope. Trench.
Oh, I'll be there unless you need to make room for other people. But like if there's room, I'm always there.
I'll get you in there, and potentially, Kara. Maybe if there's room, I'll get you in on there. I don't know. I got to see what shakes out because I got a couple other people that are interested, but these are the people I have confirmed for sure, or tentatively.
Yeah, it's if you got room. If you got room, like if you don't, I understand. Like.
Oh yeah, well I try to make space for you wherever there is, but what I'm trying to do is mix it up and get as many different folks as I can to keep it fresh for those watching at home.
Yeah, you want to get like different people, different thoughts.
Yeah, but so that's what I got going on. That's what it is, yo. And if you like this video, you like these streams I do, consider giving it a thumbs up, leaving a little comment, a little bit of encouragement. It doesn't hurt. I mean, I don't need it, but if you want to give it, I'll take it. If you hate it, if you think I suck, if you bitch, shut up about the car already. Let's get over with it. Leave a comment. Give me a thumbs down. You don't see them, but I sure do. Let me know. I could take it. Anyone will tell you that.
I can't. Don't do it.
And then again, if you're so enthused, you like the product, you want to keep watching it, you want to know every time I do this, subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. Then you'll know every time it happens, and you'll be in like Flint, and you'll be Johnny on the spot with the instant notifications in your timeline. You'll love it. And if you wanna vote for Friday night's festivities every other Friday, go find me on Instagram or Twitter. I suggest Twitter, but I check Instagram too sometimes. So hit me up at _Ethel_Cross_ and vote. You'll see it. And say something to me. Talk to me. I'll talk to you. I talk to everybody. I talk to strangers. I wasn't paying attention at kindergarten when they said not to. So I talk to everybody.
She talks to me, people. It's true. If she talks to me, she'll talk to anyone.
So do all these things, and good luck will follow you. Oh, a shout out to Nate in the audience. I see you there, horrible.
And
Follow me.
Hello, Nate.
More importantly, follow all these great people that are on the panel with me. Follow Jen at Jen's Reviews from the Grays. Follow Kara at Master of Fear. Follow Trenchy at the Soulless Trench Coat. And you know what? Hell, fucking check out Kubrick Lover 1972. Check out Nate the Horror Boy. Check out Scott Stevens. Check him out. Check out all these people. I want to thank everybody in the audience watching. We had Nate. We had John Steele. We had Gokai Green. We had Scott Stevens. We had Sparky. We had who the hell else am I forgetting? We had DMC Campbell. We had
Ben Grimm.
Jesus Christ. Am I forgetting anybody? We've got a lot of people.
Ben Grimm, I think. Maybe. I'm not
Ben
sure.
Grimm. I can't forget Ben Grimm. How dare I do such a thing? Ben has been here for like a long time. We love you, Ben.
DMC.
DMC.
Yep.
Thank you all, and I want to thank everybody who was watching who didn't say anything in the thing, lurking about, being all secret squirrel. I see you there. I see you. Thank you. And if you're watching in the future, thank you for checking out this time capsule of a show. And if you're watching in the past, how you doing that? But anyway, thank you all, and I will see you guys Friday, and I will see you guys next Sunday for Thunder in Paradise.
Woohoo!
Adios.
See ya, everybody. Bye. Bye, Gokai. Bye.